What's up, hooligans? Jay Hooligan here, and today I'm going to go over just a little bit about color correcting. And I know there's software out there that's specific for color correcting, like DaVinci Resolve. However, I like to do a lot of this stuff in Premiere itself. And I know there are much better methods out there, so bear with me. This is actually an older method that I've been using for here just because I've already been used to it, and it's a lot of spot cleaning. But as you can see here, hopefully it translates onto the video a lot better than what I can see it on my screen, where it looks like a natural skin tone. It is a little bit high contrast. That's done on purpose. But if you can see on this side, I have 3 different layers of color correcting. My actual preferred method is not this. I prefer to separate each of the colors of your primary colors, your just one layer for red, one layer for blue, one layer for green, and one layer for your black and whites, and then start adjusting from there. So again, this is a bit of an older method, but I just want to show you a little bit about how to just do something like this in Premiere and doing it the hard way, because me being stubborn as much as I am, I like doing things the hard way and then doing it the easier way, because then it gives me a lot more experience with why the easier way works a little bit better, but also can relate to the older methods and why it works that way. So I'm just going to show you here, like this particular shot was done, I believe it was shot on a red, so there are, I don't think I have it up here. Yeah, but that's because it's the wrong clip. This is actually shot on a red with a LUT baked in, but I do have the raw settings or the raw footage on here as well, so I can switch over to all your scopes, or not your scopes, but your extra data to manipulate onto the original ones. I don't know if you can see it on this, but and my computer's going to slow down most definitely. But when you get raw footage, it's technically uncolored. It's usually, a lot bigger. You don't have a LUT baked in, and you can see right from there just that the size difference. It is massively unsaturated for that. So what I had gotten from this, and again, this is not the fault of anybody, this is literally just how it's all sort of baked into there. The LUT that's baked into this without any of the color correcting that I added on here, if it'll go, look like this, massively green. Again, there's nothing wrong with like how it was shot, or it's just the equipment that it was shot with. They're out inside a park where there is a ton of greenery reflecting everywhere, including the reflectors that they had, since they didn't have power to actually have external lights to light them properly for that. It's not a fault of the film, or any of the production. It just happens, especially on the indie side. And this is an indie film. This was shot in a day. So how we go about correcting this? We were calling this the Green Monster. So how do we go about correcting this? And again, I'm just going to show you just a brief overview of what I've done for this. So my preliminary color correcting was just to kind of take out a ton of that green to get somewhere close to a skin tone. Oh, look, it's saving. A skin tone look that's closest to a natural skin color. Now, you can kind of see in this section here that there is a reflector still on there, and it does go onto her wardrobe and everything like that. But your lumetri color in your Premiere workspace, which I believe this is just straight in editing, you can also, if you really want your scopes, the scopes take a long time to load on my computer because it's old, but you can you can adjust all your settings on here on the right hand side. So for this, I have bumped up more towards orange because it's massively green. I've changed the contrast. I've changed the shadows because you can see it beforehand without. It's kind of need that bump up. I guess I should probably show a reference for what other shots kind of look like the previous shot, which I believe is a signal on the opposite, which that's massively blue, which I still have to correct, and to match to make it look consistent. But all this sort of stuff, yes, it can be done in, switching between the 3. Right inside here, I've also changed up the curves where I've dropped down the greens because there's a ton of green. It's nature. There's a lot of green out there, and some of the I've dropped down some of the the reds and even bumped up some of the blacks and whites. All right, I don't know if I did any color wheel. Not on this one. Okay. On the second one, this one is where I start to fine tune, where I really start to fine tune the to highlight the facial structures. So if you can see the difference of what happens on here, oops, that's the wrong one, my bad. You can see the difference in coloring that happens between here and here, since we have two of our actresses' faces. Without it, you know, trying to get that natural skin tone, it obviously does not look very natural on here. It's a little orange on here, but throwing that on here adds a little more contrast. Added again more contrast on this. Took down a lot of the highlights, so it's not close to being blown out, right? And took down more of those greens and those reds, because again, without it, and just bumping that down from where it's at, it starts affecting all of your shot, which is completely different and what you don't necessarily want. And just spot, this is more of a spot treatment that you've got on here, with a mask that does follow along. Come on, I believe in you. I do believe in you. The mask that does fall along our actress's face, so then it gets that color specific to her. Okay, and I also have one right here which doesn't do much, but it's actually really important, because even that little bit on there, without it, I'm gonna delete it to see if it'll work. You can see the change between here and there. Even if there is that little halo that's around there, I'm okay with it. You know, so, but it does help with that, and she does move out of the way. The last one I have on here, because you can still kind of see that green reflection coming off on here, is, oh, that's already on there. Is actually taking down those greens from right here. And this to me is probably the closest I'm going to get that green monster to actual skin tone color. But again, you can see the differences where it was highlighted. There are masks on here. I will show you in just a second, because my computer's running slow because I'm recording and have Premiere open, and like I said, it's old. But I do have that on here, where again, where the highlights are the most. I've feathered this like hell, and even took down the opacity for it, because again, those are just some of the things that you can adjust. But the curves, you can see on this one, massively took down the greens and the reds. When I took down the greens, it started looking more purple. Took down some of the reds, so it gets a little more natural skin color. And then I believe, nope, I didn't even do touch the color wheel on this. Maybe that was in the second one that I did. But I did, again, I try to warm it up, even though it's got the blues, because you took down the reds, right? And you wanted a little more of the orange instead of the dark red. It's another reason why I feathered this. So then it looks a little bit better. And I want to say, I could have sworn I did, that might have been on some other ones. Oh yeah, so that was actually in the second one where I started messing with the color wheels on top of the curves and the basic color correction. So that was more for the broader mask around our actress's face. And we get into, again, this one didn't do too much on your basic, didn't touch the color wheels on here, but on curves, definitely added that on there. So now I get something that looks like this. This is much closer to skin tone, proper skin tone, right? I think the one thing I didn't mention on here from the first one is I've also bumped up my saturation by 200%, because how much data is actually put into raw footage, and even if it's got a baked in LUT, can still bump up your saturation and make it still look good. So that's a real simple way. It's, as I say, simple, not easy. Simple way to color correct directly in Premiere, instead of having to export to DaVinci Resolve, which I don't know if you have to do that anymore. I haven't been spun up on the new DaVinci Resolve and see how it looks. But again, you can see it right here, where you got the original, and then you have color correction. There you go. So again, you can do a lot of this in Premiere. I like doing it, like I said, all in Premiere because that workflow that it created from going to After Effects, Audition. I think they did have their own coloring program, which didn't last very long. I forget the name of it already, but it's gone. It's no longer in their apps, at least not on their uploader that they have. So everything is kind of built in right into Premiere, and that's how my old method, which again, surprised I'm using because it's just what I'm used to. My older method of spot cleaning for here. And now, again, just don't mind all the mess of everything here. I haven't cleaned this up. And again, this was, I'd hate to say it was a rush job, but I am trying to rush through it just so I can, yeah, get the film out. I will do cleanup on it at the end. But again, you can nest a lot of these together. I added in the raw footage just so I can keep it cleaned up so I know if I need to pull that and try to color correct from there. I got that, but that's all probably going to go away, especially when I do my final edit or my final render. Again, I like doing everything inside Premiere. Same thing with the anime test shoot. I did all that in Premiere. I didn't have to export or replace any compositions of footage into After Effects. That was all done in Premiere, and maybe I'll do a video on that too later. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you later.